Hey everyone, so in one of my videos I got asked a question that I thought was kind of an important one to bring up, and this is about working on your own and how do you cope with it. So obviously preparation is key, I've said that a million times, but the head is a different part together. So working on my own I find quite difficult. But I've found ways of motivating myself over the years. So I've been working on my own now for, I think it's 3 or 4 years now. So I worked with my dad for, 15 years, and I've had labourers working with me as well. But when I had my kids, I decided that I was gonna work on my own. I basically liked having the flexibility of being able to just go in later, on starting and finishing later, or starting earlier, having all of that flexibility in my hands. And this is one of the things that being self-employed does allow you to do. But it is not always that easy. So there are a few things about being self-employed that are quite difficult. And obviously when you're working on your own, it's all down to you. There's nobody who's going to pick up your slack. You've got to do it all. You know, end of the day, when you don't really want to be bothered tidying up, you've got to do that tidying up. And I always seem to find they're the hours that you just lose. So for me, working on my own, I find quite difficult. I think it's something that you do get more used to. It's very difficult on the head, working on your own, because you can lack motivation. I know you can say you're getting paid and everything, but money isn't the biggest motivation in work, and it shouldn't be the biggest motivation in work. Self-worth should be one of the biggest motivations, because if you feel that you've done something and you've made a difference, I think that's something that goes a long way. A lot of people work in jobs they don't like. So if you can enjoy your job, then that bit of self-worth does make things more important. So some of the techniques I use for keeping me strong up here is that I'll put something on my phone, I'll stick my headphones in, and I'll listen to either a podcast, or I'll listen to some music, or I'll listen to a live gig, something that just stimulates me. And music is one of the biggest things as well, because that can actually it lifts your mood, especially if you're feeling like, oh my God, I've got this huge ceiling to do, and you've got to psych yourself up for it. Music is a great way of psyching you up to do things. If you put something on that's going to pump you up and get you going, then you're just going to get on, you're just going to do it. Whereas, you know, sometimes you can be thinking of things, you know, you're on your own, it's quiet, and you're thinking, can I do it? Because self-doubt comes into everybody. You know, am I going to be able to do this? So say, for example, I've got this ceiling to do up here. It's quite a tall ceiling, so I'm gonna have to set up some scaffolds in here. It's not a huge ceiling, but I've got curves, and I've got to curve it into there. So I know that it's gonna be non-stop when I start, basically, because I'm gonna have to try and make it all look neat, and I'm gonna have to keep the character and going into the wood and stuff. I actually love doing stuff like that, because anything with beams and stuff I find really enjoyable doing. But I know that it's going to be a bit of a challenge. So obviously preparation is key to everything, but putting yourself in the right frame of mind to do something is key as well. So I found that having you here makes it a lot easier. So I talk to the camera a lot, and it's something that has helped me a lot since I've been on my own. I decided that I'd lost all interest in plastering, and then I started filming myself just because I like doing bits of filming with the band and stuff, and it was just something that I thought, well, let's see how it goes, and it made a big difference for me. Having a camera in a room with my head, it makes me want to work better. It makes me want to not make any mistakes. It wants me to be perfect, which I'm not. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but having a bit of extra motivation does help. So having a camera watching you, even though nobody's going to see it, has been something that's been good for me, because it means that I can actually see how I do things. It also helps me to improve as well. I found that it has made me improve some of the things that I do, and I try and not waste as much energy as I used to. So there's just a couple of things that I use to keep myself going and to keep giving myself motivation. But working on your own, it definitely does have its advantages, but it has its disadvantages as well. And it also means that you do tend to end up working a lot harder. If you had a labourer with you, you can delegate a lot more. But for me at the moment, in my position, having a labourer doesn't really work because my hours, they are a bit up and down. So, you know, some days I'll be starting after 9:30 by the time I've got to a job, after I've taken the kids to school. And that means that I'd end up working later, or, you know, I'll miss my dinner and I'll just work through, which tends to happen quite a lot when you're self-employed. So I think it's very important that we all think about our mental state. I think you've got to have things that motivate you, and like everybody, there's ups and downs, but it is important that you try and find a way of keeping yourself going. I found my way with my YouTube channel. It kept me engaged, and it definitely made me want to improve. And because I've always liked sharing my knowledge, it gave me a good outlay of sharing some of the things I've learned from my dad and a few other people over the years and stuff that I've figured out. Another thing that I'm going to say is that obviously working on your own, you don't have somebody to talk to. See, I'm quite lucky. I do work with a few people every now and then. If there's builders there, I can talk with them or the customers. But you've got to find a way of talking to somebody, and because being able to talk to somebody is very important, because if you can't talk to somebody about your day, it can, you know, there's certain things that you need to get out of your system as well. So having a good support system behind you definitely helps for that as well. And if you haven't got that support system at home, there is the internet. There's a couple of forums that I would definitely recommend that you look into. There's the Child Talk forum on Facebook that I'm a big fan of. So Stuart, who does the Child Talk Facebook page, he actually, he does keep a good eye on his page. So there isn't much abuse going on there, because there is, unfortunately, on other Facebook pages. There's a lot of people who don't want to help. So if you do need to talk to somebody, there are pages for that, and it is a big thing, being able to talk to people and get advice. That's a good way of you having your little support system behind you, because you can't always talk about work to your friends and family because they're not going to understand what you're talking about. So having other people to talk to is definitely a good way of going about keeping your head in the right place. So guys, I hope you found some of the information useful. If you've got any ways that you like to motivate yourself, put them below, and hopefully it can help other people as well. And maybe I'll steal some of your tips for doing it as well, because I think that's the best way to do it, is to talk about things, and then you can figure out how you want things to be. Right, I think I've left this long enough now. I think I need to give it a trial. Right guys, thank you very much for watching this video. I drop these videos every Tuesday. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. See ya.